Alright, YouTube, I've covered the subject of movies that I like before, mostly horror, honestly. Brotherhood of the Wolf, which is kind of a horror movie, kind of action, kind of romance, has a little bit of everything. Ninth Gate, all sorts of different stuff like that. The Corpse Bride, some like claymation and cartoon material. But as far as comedy goes, there's really only one fairly recent comedy that I actually like, and that's Helen Keller versus Nightwolves. Now, it's not Helen Keller versus the Nightwolves. I'm not exactly sure why. This was an extreme low-budget attempt at crafting a movie that they had a Kickstarter and everything, and it never actually got like professionally produced, but it's still hashed together. It's on YouTube. You can watch it for free in full. Link in the description. Ross Patterson, of course, released this. It's hilarious. It's a 10 out of 10 on the hilarity scale. It's sort of stoner comedy and sort of ironic, like modern, postmodern comedy mixed together. But at the same time, I mean, it's just literally one-liner after one-liner. It's kind of sort of made over to look a little bit like an old movie, but not at all times. Completely random. I mean, most of the timeline of the movie doesn't make sense. Normally what happens is a movie tries to be serious, it doesn't make sense, and that's a deficit because people are like, well, what the fuck's going on? But when a movie deliberately does that, if it does it the right way, as this film does, it can actually make it funnier. The fact that the special effects, or animation as you may wish to term it, is, let's say, a little bit substandard, also helps. The acting actually, except where people are deliberately out of character and overacting for comedic effect, is actually fairly good, honestly, I would say. And if you like, if you like the idea of Helen Keller, blind and deaf and kind of fucked up, having a different backstory about how she got that way and what she then proceeded to do, you'll enjoy this movie. I'm not going to give you any significant spoilers here. The basic storyline, though, is, of course, Nightwolves. A certain type of wolf is attacking a community, and people get fucked up. It's a laugh a minute, or more like a laugh a second, to the point where the first time you watch it, you'll probably piss your pants or puke up, or at least have a sore stomach from laughing so much. Even the intro, which is a little bit on the long side, is fairly funny, but once it gets into the movie, it's like, what the fuck is going on here? I actually, when I first saw the listing, I didn't realize it was one of those comedies that's deliberately low budget. I thought it was more of just a really weird, warped idea, sort of like a Nightbreed style movie, where it would be kind of a cultic movie, but it would try to be serious. That's not exactly what I got. It'd be sort of like the low-budget equivalent, the low-budget comedy equivalent of like Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter or something like that. Very well made for the shoestring budget, certainly better than most people would accomplish. That being said, you should definitely take a look at it. I would recommend this above Young Frankenstein for comedy. Now, that's very difficult to accomplish because Young Frankenstein, I've watched it hundreds of times over the years. But as far as newer comedies go, this sort of fits into exactly my style of sense of humor. I just find it absolutely hilarious. Even like thinking about the movie is funny. That's when you know that it's a gem that you've found. Most comedies don't do anything for me, and I don't even find them funny. I find them boring. So it's got to be either really, really warped, or it's got to be really slapstick, or in this case, both. There's quite a bit of slapstick in this movie as well. I think people will deeply, deeply appreciate the resounding artistic quality of this particular film. But yes, I strongly recommend Helen Keller versus Nightwolves. Extremely good. Very, very funny. It's a 10 out of 10 in my book. And there aren't that many movies, even movies that I've watched many times. Most of the time I wouldn't give them that sort of perfect score. That's about all. Peace out.